Muses of Mythology is a spoiler-heavy podcast.
That's an understatement.
We're going to discuss not just the events of this book, but the Rhineverse as a whole, and really anything that we feel is relevant. You can find full spoiler warnings in the show notes. DJ, there's not going to be a cold open to this episode.
No, it's because this is a two-parter.
It's a two-parter, and I figured this will just be the most effective way to get back into it.
Absolutely. And I hope you guys enjoyed last week's episode. And also, it was last week's episode, so we're weekly.
We're weekly. DJ, do you have a joke we could give our listeners? Something to, like, usually this part is kind of funny.
An Irishman walked out of a bar.
Goodbye! Enjoy the episode! Nico breaks Percy out of jail.
Yep, Nico breaks Percy out of jail. They go to the River Styx.
And oh my god. All right, DJ, you're like maybe next to Carter and Erica are the biggest Percy Beth shipper I know. Do you want to talk about this?
So it's a great scene, right? He jumps into the River Styx. Mm-hmm. And what I said earlier is he chose a bad spot. Yeah. He chose the nape of his back.
Small of his back.
The small of his back. This dead center of like the lower back.
Which I always actually thought was between your shoulder blades and found out very recently. Well, because
he said it's behind the navel.
No, he does. Again, I did think it was between your shoulder blades. No. When I just read it in books, and it's not. It's this lower part, which makes people touching the small of your back way more creepy to me.
Yeah, and here's the thing about it. That is such a spot that you cannot protect yourself. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, sure, he has Annabeth for his armor. He has Annabeth for his back. But like, it's leather armor and a sword goes through it.
Yeah.
Like a stab. Leather is great against slicing, not good against piercing.
Yeah.
You know, he picks that, and I'm like, Luke had it. That was the spot. His fucking armpit.
Right. Percy even makes a comment about
he's like
embarrassing like my armpit.
And like it seems more dignified. Not like the armpit.
Which is what Luke thought of.
That is actively the best part to put that.
Yeah.
Is in fact your armpit. Because you're not like most people are never gonna be hit, and you never see people
You don't aim ever for the armpit. You aim for the chest, you aim for the stomach, even all up and down the back.
Even like, and again, the center of the back. Oh, the spine? You mean the spine, Percy?
It's severed right between
a vertebrae, you know, like
1 and 2. Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
I will absolutely.
Bad,
but the sequence is beautiful.
Oh, it's very pretty.
Oh no, but like him, because Nico tells him you have to have something to anchor you, something to like hold onto your humanity. So he jumps in, and it's all being ripped away, and he like doesn't have it, and he's losing himself, and then he feels something tug on him, and he hears a voice say, "You're not going to get away from me that easy, Seaweed Brain." Mm-hmm. And it's Annabeth pulling him up, and he's like, "Oh, I'm in the lake at Camp Half-Blood, and there's Annabeth on the dock. She's just pulling me back up." And it's so beautifully done.
Yeah. It's very great. I'm very excited for it for the series. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of things I'm like, these are great visuals that are going to be gorgeous on screen.
They are. And just this moment of what it solidifies what Annabeth means to Percy after everything they've been to, what this relationship means to him so much.
Yeah.
It is the greatest love story ever told.
It's great.
That.
It's
in
wonderful.
That moment,
and the only reason I'll say it's the greatest is because I cannot think of another at the moment. So
I'll give it the greatest. Is it my favorite? No, I am a fucking wimp for Magnus and Alec from the Shadowhunters Chronicles. I don't know what to tell you. I can't. It's Alec for me till the end.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll say the bathing in the River Styx and being pulled up, does it beat the kiss in front of the entire Shadow World? A little bit. It beats it just a little bit for me.
It's very strong.
So this curse of Achilles. Oh, also Achilles shows up and tries to warm him.
Like, hey, don't do that. It's it essentially ties all of your like weakness to one point. It's like, yeah, I'm not talking about your physical weakness. I'm talking about the emotional weakness or whatever. I don't know. Yeah. I'm like, great, Achilles, piss off. We're doing things.
I gotta save the
I got important stuff
Achilles.
to do.
I don't want to do this, but I have to do this.
Yeah.
Actually, I think what that means more about Luke than it does about Percy. I think ultimately.
Yeah.
But
what do you think tied Luke down?
I think it was Annabeth too.
Probably, yeah.
I think it was Annabeth too.
Such a goofy ass spot, but it's the best spot. It really do me.
Too. I think for Luke, maybe if we dive into memory, it was a memory of little Annabeth hugging him and the feeling of her arms, like underneath his arms when he was tall, so much taller than her.
Mm-hmm,
I think it was that. And that's where the spot ended up for him. Because at the end, we see Annabeth and that relationship is the thing that's because we get a sense that Luke is fighting against Kronos.
Yeah.
Like Luke wanted to
the
tear
whole
down
book.
everything, but he's not super jazzed about this part of the plan. We
Yeah.
knew that in Titan's Curse, how he was freaking out about how they needed to get Talia on their side or he was going to go with the other plan.
Yeah.
We also find out that right before Battle of the Labyrinth, Luke actually came to Annabeth and was like, hey, let's just run away together. Let's get Talia. It's just like old times. Let's go.
That's right.
And Annabeth is like, fuck off.
Yeah. It's like, well, I can't do that.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry.
And how desperate he was to get Annabeth on his side. I think it's like, that circles back to, I think, he knew he could not get away from Kronos on his own. Luke cannot win by himself.
Yeah.
It's like capture the flag in the very first book.
Percy can.
Percy can.
Percy can destroy by himself.
Yes.
Check out our Patreon. We talked about it. We had a whole conversation about how fucking amazing Percy is.
Yep, that's an episode we definitely recorded months and months ago, and not 5 minutes before we started this.
Not at all.
That episode from April. But no, I get what your point is. But what I'm saying is, we see first Battle of the Flag, capture the flag in the very first book. Luke wins. Hermes' cabin wins, and Luke claims victorious because of Annabeth. Because he had Annabeth on his side, and she had a plan. So I think he goes to Annabeth and is like, "Hey, let's go," because he knows he needs her and her planning and her strategy to get out of this. He can't do it alone. And she says no. Good on her. So that's why Annabeth feels so responsible. Later on, we have Hermes yelling at her, said, you had the chance to save him and you didn't. And it's like, Hermes, you did too. And everyone's bound by decisions that they made. This is not Annabeth's fault. And honestly, I don't think it's Hermes' fault either. I think he's trapped in a system.
No, again,
as well.
yeah, it's not.
What
I
is he
don't
going to do?
blame
Defy
Hermes.
Zeus?
I don't blame Hermes at all for this situation.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, sure, he got mad at Annabeth, but like, that's a father getting
anger.
That's misplaced anger, and it's just a father grieving his son, right? And you can like once again, we see throughout all the books that Hermes does love Luke with like all of his heart, but because of the Zeus's stupid ass rule, he can't do anything about it.
Yeah, and he loves Luke, but I think like love isn't enough. Love isn't.
No,
enough.
he has to be there, right? Like you have to be there,
love
and
someone and call it enough.
It's sad because if May never tried to become the Oracle, right? Luke probably would have turned out a lot like Percy.
Yeah, but she didn't, and I mean, if Hermes didn't hook up with the mortals all the time, but we can't, right? This is so. Anyway, so taking out the Curse of Achilles just makes Percy Jackson a superhero,
dude. Oh my god!
Like we joke about him having superpowers, but this full on makes him a superhero.
He completely wipes out the army that Hades shows up with, and even takes down Hades himself.
Like talking about like sword to the throat again, and is ready. He's like, "Hey, get your act together." And Hades like fades in the ground and like bails like a cow. Peace. I'm not gonna deal with this. And Percy he's like, "I'm gonna go fight Kronos," and he goes like, "I'll come too." No, you're to stay here and get your dad to join the fight.
Get your dad to help.
Get
please.
your dad
we
house
need him.
in order. Let's go. And but also he's still kind of pissed at Nico.
Oh well, yeah, understandable.
So
and then he goes, and then they
real quick. Can we just read that section of like that fight? It is so
super strong,
wild.
He's like, I don't know if whether or not like the things were magically hitting me or bouncing off my skin, but let me tell you, nothing touched me.
Yeah. The redcoats lowered their bayonets. I didn't wait for them. I charged. It was the stupidest thing I'd ever done. 100 muskets fired at me point blank. All of them missed. I crashed into their line and started hacking with Riptide. Bayonets jabbed, sword slashed, guns reloaded and fired. Nothing touched me. I rolled through the ranks, slashing redcoats to death, one after another. My mind went on autopilot. Stab, dodge, cut, deflect, roll. Riptide was no longer a sword. It was an arc of pure destruction. I broke through the enemy line and leapt into the black chariot. Hades raised his staff. A dark bolt of energy shot towards me, but I deflected off my blade and slammed into him. The god and I both tumbled out of the chariot. The next thing I knew, my knee was planted on Hades' chest. I was holding the collar of his royal robes in one fist, the tip of my sword posed just over his face. Hades melts into nothing, leaving me holding empty black robes. Did Hades leave his clothes behind?
Yes.
Cool.
He just showed up in his bedroom with Persephone on the bed, like reading with her reading glasses. Stark buck naked, and Persephone's like, "It's not even Saturday night. We doing this? Let's do it. Let's go."
Like, oh, did it go well with the Jackson boy? Did you kill him? Oh, and he leaves like,
"Oh, you got something pent up, then, huh?"
I cursed and got to my feet, breathing heavily. Now that the danger was over, I realized how tired I was. Every muscle in my body ached. I looked at my clothes. They were slashed to pieces, full of bullet holes, but I was fine. Not one mark on me. Nico's mouth hung open. You just with a sword, I think the river worked. Oh, gee, you think?
Yeah, think.
So it turns him into just an absolute superhero.
So he's essentially a god that can die of old age at this point.
At this point.
That's all he's got.
One misplaced stab
Instead
wound.
of having what Thalia has, which is she can't die of old age but can die in battle. In fact, he cannot die in battle unless hit in one spot, which is a bad spot.
Bad spot.
I would say Achilles' heel is a better spot than the small of your back.
Yeah, Achilles didn't even pick that. That was just Thetis.
That was also
dipping him. We are going to have an episode about Thetis. I know she doesn't actually appear in this book. She absolutely should have, and it's wild that we didn't get some sort of dream flashback of Percy actually seeing her dip Achilles in the river.
Yeah, I think. Where would that go though? Where would you put that scene in this book?
The sequence when Percy is in the prison and having the dreams. It's not uncommon for us to get a series, and it would be quick.
I guess that's fair.
It would be quick. We would just see a woman and he'd see her fair. We just see what's happening, and we don't know what it is until he sees Achilles at the riverside. It's like, I saw what happened with you. It's like, that was a
sidebar.
Yeah.
Thetis dunking Achilles in
Oh
Lower
my God.
Olympus. Don't dunk your baby in the river Styx.
Don't dunk your baby.
And he's just, huh?
It's like, is that the reason you got your like terrible cousin for the job? You just realized she's like, well, while I'm here,
might as well. What's this gonna do to the baby? I don't know. There's no precedent for what happens here. So let's try it out.
She knows. There's a prophecy about it. That's why she does it. She knows her son will come to harm, and she wants to protect him.
Okay.
So she's trying to protect her kid.
I want to know the precedent that makes you know that the river Styx makes you invulnerable.
Right,
I thought Achilles was the precedent. Why do people know?
Yeah.
Why do people know that this happened?
I don't know. Achilles is the precedent, so I don't know.
But yeah.
We'll circle back. We'll have to talk about that later. We're already recording for over an hour. Let's well, we haven't even got to the good parts yet.
No.
Well, I guess most of the rest
We're
of the book
about
is just
it's
fighting.
literally like most of the rest of the
Combat
book
in
is then he gets back up to Manhattan and all the mortals are asleep. All the mortals are asleep, and it seems that most of them came to a stop in their cars. I would say most of them, all of them, all the ones that were driving and in like essentially in danger's way, came to a stop in their cars, put it in park, and then fell asleep.
Yeah, they just feel themselves like, whoa.
Because like we see it,
Morpheus
see it,
does this.
Morpheus
put Grover to sleep for a while.
Yeah, and Grover's the one who saw it, and it was a lady. Literally, she like when Morpheus passed by her, she just instead of just immediately falling asleep, she lied down on the floor, crawled into a ball, and then fell asleep. Morpheus passed. She got back up and ran like nothing happened.
I'm so excited to talk about Morpheus. I'm
gonna be
so
fun.
excited to talk about Morpheus this season. It's going to be really fun.
The season's gonna be a good one, guys.
Oh, it's got a lot of good stuff. We got some good guests. So, yeah, Percy's pissed.
Yep.
What did they do to my city?
Yeah, what they do to my city. And so
Love that.
Nightfall happens, and he fights through the night. I don't actually remember what happens this night. I guess the big thing that happens is towards the end of the night, Kronos shows up on one bridge. Oh no, I guess it's the setup is what this is, right? The setup, and it's...
Well, does Annabeth get stabbed on this first night?
Yes.
Because they're fighting, Ika Nakamura shows up, and all of a sudden, he's about to stab Percy in the back, and all of a sudden, Annabeth jumps in the way of it. And she takes a poison blade in, like, her stomach, essentially. Yeah. Percy's pissed, swipe. No one touches her. I live for that in trope.
Super good. That's a good trope.
Oh, the person A is injured, person B is like, no one touches them. And I'm like, I can't help it.
Very good.
Peak. And this is our introduces to Will Solace. He grabs Will and is like, you're a healer, right? You're coming with
Fix my girlfriend.
Fix my girlfriend. And Will Solace is like, I don't know how long I've been at camp. Have I been my whole life? Did I just show up this summer? I have no idea.
Who's to say? I was just created just now.
Yeah, hey, I'm Will Solace. I'm here to be the healer. We just got rid of Michael Hughes, so I'm your complimentary Apollo kid.
Yeah, no, this one, or at the very least, the first night that we have 3 nights in Manhattan. The first night, the day before.
Oh, the hunters showed up.
Yeah, the hunters showed up.
The party ponies showed up.
That was the second night.
Cool.
Yeah. So it's the first night, and again, we have the setup, which is what Hermes tells Annabeth that Athena said to use Plan 23.
Right, because that's a Daedalus plan. It brings all the statues.
It brings the statues to life, and then Percy uses it later, which is great. We got that, and then it's just a bunch of setup. We go through that.
There's still the spy's still a problem because they set up a plan, and then the monsters and they all
change their
plan.
plan.
To change their plan in response.
And so, but Percy goes and visits the gods of Easton Hudson,
Yeah.
and they're just a bunch of jackasses. Just a couple of jackasses, you know?
Yeah, just a
but he bribes them with half a sand dollar each.
To keep anyone from crossing the river.
To keep anyone from crossing the river. And they're stoked about it. They love it. They're like, cool. And so then the night happens, and Annabeth gets stabbed by Ethan Nakamura.
Mm-hmm. Ethan! Wow, we're really upgrading ourselves to villain status here.
I know,
Good
crazy.
for you.
And then Percy has Annabeth whisked off by Blackjack, and then he has to go and confront Kronos on the bridge. And then he tears down I think it's like the Brooklyn Bridge or something like that. He tears down some bridge. And then that's the end of the first night.
We see in like dreams, Kronos is like, hey, where the fuck?
Where were you aiming?
Where were you aiming? Because he's like, he's like, I don't remember. She's jumped away. Why would she do that if he's immortal? Where were you aiming? Because he knows, and they're trying to figure it out.
Yeah.
But Ethan's being like kind of cagey about it because maybe he's also like,
honestly, 100%, I believe he didn't know where he was aiming. He was just stabbing, 100%.
I don't know. I think he knew he was aiming for the back, but I think he's not super sold on like Kronos anymore.
I think in the midst of combat, and especially in like a full-blown war combat where Percy has just taken down 190 fucking monsters, you're not aiming.
Probably not. But
yeah, you're just going in for a stab, and suddenly Annabeth jumps in the way. I think maybe he thinks about it after that conversation. He realizes, but he might be being cagey. But I also 100% believe he didn't know he was just stabbing.
Ares. Oh, we should talk about Ares' cabin doesn't show up.
Ares' cabin doesn't show up.
Apollo even is like, hey, we gave Clarice the chariot and everything, and she's still like, no, you disrespected us, we're not coming, you just want to use us for like, and I'm like, I get it, I respect her for standing her ground,
but this isn't the time.
It's like, it's not just, it's the entire world. Like, what do you
this isn't the time, Clarice.
It's like she is just picking pride over practicality.
Yeah, if anything, she's got fucking hubris, bro.
That's the hubris. Like, she is refusing to show any kind of grace and stuff. She is being so stubborn. It's like, no, it's the whole world. It's everything. It's everything. Like, you have to do something.
Like, everything's about to be flipped.
Anyway, second night, Clarice shows up on the chariot. Oh my god, fighting this giant dragon that can only be killed by a child of Ares.
Yeah. Well, that's the third day.
Was that the third day?
That's the third day. So second night, they're about to be overrun, but the party ponies show up.
That's right.
Yeah, party ponies show up.
When does Grover turn a titan into a tree?
That's also on this night.
Okay.
It's the party's ponies don't show up until that same time with the dragon.
Okay.
But it's Thalia shows up before the second night. And then the second night, they find out, well, Hyperion is also coming. And that's when Percy summons the hurricane to fight Hyperion, to continue to put out his flames, and he's getting mad. And then Grover gets all the dryads and other satyrs to play their flute and turn him into a tree.
So good.
Very strong. Very good. Leading a reason as to why I think Percy would win. Yeah. And then he goes to bed, and then he gets more dreams of the Kronos is like, hey, we need to send the Draken out now while they're still recovering.
So do we also see Nico being like bothering, like Hades has his hands over his ears and Nico's like, come on, we gotta go.
One of the dreams
is him seeing Nico trying.
And then in the third day, it's like before nightfall happens, the Draken shows up, and then
Clarice shows up on the
dragon,
on the flying chariot, and all of the Ares cabinets followed her.
Yep, and they're fighting, and then Clarice gets hit by poison spray,
and Percy has never seen her blue eyes look so scared. Wait,
hold on a second, she don't got blue eyes
because it's
Selena. And then we find Clarice shows up and is over Selena, and we find out Selena's the spy.
Luke convinced her to be the spy way long ago, and then all of a sudden she told her, less people will die. I can make sure that people don't get hurt if I know what's going on.
Yeah.
And Charlie died, and then Annabeth got stabbed, and she was in too deep. She knew she couldn't just stop, so she did this. So she dons Clarice's armor to get, because the Ares cabinet will only follow her. So she puts on the armor and gets them to follow her.
Because they're scared of Clarice.
And they also respect her. And
they respect her, but it's like when, what is it? Like the other, like some other of the campers are like, we should go help. Clarice isn't doing it. So it's, there's a fear there.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I want to talk briefly about Clarice and Selena definitely have at least similar body type builds. Like you would be able to tell, which means I think tall, athletic women. I think Clarice definitely more buff. I would think Selena's built like a basketball player, though.
Yeah. Probably.
Anyway,
something like that.
So I think like for our fan art, we need to course correct all fan art. These two girls clearly have similar
there's
body
official
statements.
art. You know, there's official art of Clarice, isn't there? I'm sure.
Probably, but regardless, I reject all. So this is another thing
Clarice,
about Achilles from the Iliad is Patroclus, Achilles' like love.
Yeah.
He also is like a badass warrior in his own right.
100%.
There is a reason that they thought that listen, okay, we'll get to it. Patroclus like kicks fucking ass before they realize it's not Achilles. Like he beats fucking ass. The only reason he dies is because a god showed up to help Hector. Like he beats ass. And so this is exactly what happens. Achilles refuses to fight, so they won't follow him. But Patroclus is like, this is some bullshit. He dons the armor, gets him to follow him, goes into battle, dies. Achilles goes on a fucking rampage after that.
Mm-hmm.
And this is exactly what Clarice does. She goes on an absolute
rampage. She kills the Draken. That the reason it was sent out is because its fate is to die by the hands of a child of Ares.
And there were no childs of Ares.
And there was no, because, well, Kronos knows that because Selena was telling him.
He was a spy, yeah.
And then
she
Clarice
drag the Draken's body all around all night long, which is another
Ares
thing that
gives her the blessing of Ares, which is essentially a temporary curse of Achilles without the weakness.
Yeah. She's basically like the Mario superstar.
Yeah, just goes around and essentially scares them all off.
Yeah,
everyone's like just all the monsters run away until the night. And then Kronos shows up and instead of fighting anybody, he just immediately books it to the Empire State Building.
No, he doesn't have fucking time.
He's like, I got a plan. I gotta get this. Like, look, we're being pushed back. I gotta get the show on the road because if I do this, then I win.
Yeah, he's just
like that is the win condition for me now. There is no longer wiping out the demigods. That's the win condition for me is destroying Olympus.
Yep. And so, when does
the party ponies show up? Right as like
when does Nico and them show up?
Probably around this time too. I think it's like one final push. Nico shows up.
Oh my god!
It's also Typhon's coming on this night.
And Percy is trying. The thing is, they've been trying to convince the gods they need to come back.
Percy
was
trying to convince his father. He's like, look, you need to the reason that there was a war there is because Kronos is trying to split the gods' power. You need to come and help them beat Typhon. And then Nico is also like, you need to come and help them beat Typhon. This is exactly what Kronos wants. You need to go beat Typhon with your family.
With your family. Yeah, family's hard. I get it. Family's hard.
Yeah.
You got to be with them. Oh my god. Can we talk briefly about the moment where Chiron and Kronos face off? And it's like they're fighting and Chiron's like he's going to fight and he's like, you're a teacher, not a hero. Luke was a hero, Chiron said. He was a good one until you corrupted him. Fool! Kronos' voice shook the city. You filled his head with empty promises. You said the guards cared about me. Me, Chiron noticed. You said me.
Very good. Very strong.
It's so good.
Rachel shows up at some point.
Oh yeah, I forgot about the Rachel of it. God, these episodes are so long. Whatever. Y'all know what this is. It's the book episode.
Yeah, Rachel shows up in a helicopter.
She wanted Percy to come on vacation with her.
Yep.
He can't. So she goes, and she's having visions.
Dreams.
And she was like, oh, that's what it means. And she's like, I need to get to Manhattan now.
Yeah.
So she convinces her dad to give her a helicopter to let her go back to Manhattan on the terms that she's going to go to whatever like ladies
boarding
finishing school he wants her to go to. So she flies out there because she's like someone needs to know this. Percy needs to know this because it will change the decision he makes. He
needs to realize this.
And so she shows up right after Selena and stuff, and the helicopter fell asleep as soon as they crossed the barrier into Manhattan.
Yeah.
So like Annabeth had to take Blackjack up there or another Pegasus, I don't remember exactly.
Yeah.
And get Rachel. And then there's still this petty ass sniping between the two of them, which I'm so over. But,
I think it's funny.
Yeah.
I think it's goofy, especially when it's like between the two towards each other. I think it's funny.
Okay.
But I think it's when essentially Annabeth is taking shots at Rachel towards Percy. I think that's petty. But towards each other, I'm all about it. I think it's funny.
So what Rachel has to tell Percy is, you are not the hero.
You're not the hero.
He's like, what the hell does that mean? She's like,
what do you mean I'm not the hero?
I don't know. I know it'll impact your decision. What you just need to know that. And he's like, okay. And then Chiron's there, like, let's have a conversation. So they leave.
They go talk.
We're done for Rachel for a little bit. And Prometheus shows up, gives him the jar with hope in
Yeah.
it to try to convince him to give
Pandora's
up.
Pithis.
I have opinions. We'll talk about them later. Percy's almost tempted to give up when he sees his parents unconscious in the car in front of the thing, and it really freaks him out. But he ends up giving it to Hestia by the hearth as like an offering to her. It is like,
Yeah.
well, hope thrives at the hearth. If you have this, I will not be tempted to give up hope again. And that's true. And we get the final fight. Grover, Annabeth, Percy, and Talia all hightail it up to... Oh, wait. No, this is what happens. Okay, I found it. I was trying to figure out where... because that's the fight. And then Kronos attacks Chiron. Annabeth is so angry. He's about to fight. He raises his scythe. Kronos is going to strike. And then all of a sudden, the underworld shows up. And the enemy forces stirred uneasily. The strangest thing happened. They began to part, clearing a path through the street that looked like someone was forcing them to. Soon there was a free aisle down the center of Fifth Avenue. Standing at the center was my giant dog and a small figure in black armor. Nico! Son of Hades, Kronos spit the ground. Do you love death so much you wish to experience it? Your death, Nico said, would be great for me. Damn, Nico!
Super good.
It's like, you have no business here. It's like, I don't agree. The ground rumbled. Cracks appeared on the road. The sidewalks, the sides of buildings. Skeletal hands grasped the air as the dead crawled their way into the world of the living. There were thousands of them, and as they emerged, the Titans monsters got jumpy and started to back up. Hold your ground! Kronos demanded. The dead are no match for us! The sky turned dark and cold. Shadows thickened. A harsh war horn sounded, and the dead soldiers formed up ranks with their guns and swords and speared. An enormous chariot roared down Fifth Avenue. It came to a stop next to Nico. The horses were living shadows, fashioned from darkness. The chariot was inlaid with obsidian gold and decorated with scenes of painful death. Holding the reins was Hades himself, Lord of the Dead, with Demeter and Persephone riding behind him. I love the rising up description of like the vehicles, and then there's like Hades. Okay. Hello, Hades smiled coldly. Hello, Father. You're looking young. Damn.
And then
like
Kronos
commenting-
books it.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, fuck this.
And then they start fighting. It's great. Side tangent. The rest of the demigods are all holed up in Mount Olympus now. And they're in the Empire State Building. This is my fangirl nonsense. Maybe it was disproven in Son of the Star. I don't know. It's April. But I'm pretty sure this is the first time Will Solace has ever seen Nico DiAngelo.
Probably.
And I've maintained Will has had a crush on Nico since day one.
That's a cute guy over there.
He's a cute guy.
Anyway.
He just rolled up with reinforcements of the dead to save our asses. Wow, I think I'm in love.
Yeah.
Anyway, this is what I'm pretty sure.
Hey.
I'm sure if it's not the first time Will saw him, it's definitely when he developed a crush on Nico.
Yeah.
So now we don't have to worry about having to stay and fight with the forces because the armies of the dead are there, and that's when Talia, Percy, Annabeth, and Grover can hightail it upstairs.
Yeah.
Talia gets trapped underneath a statue of Hera because we're just wanting our special trio. We're going to be involved in the final fight. She doesn't really get to... She just spins the final battle underneath the statue that almost falls on Annabeth. Whatever.
Yeah.
And then...
What did Grover do in this final fight? I don't remember Grover being in the Olympus.
Grover's there. He's in the throne room.
Okay.
Ethan Nakamura's there. They're fighting, and Nakamura, so Kronos is still trying to get him, tell me Jackson's weakness, kill him and you'll have rewards along measure. And he's like, look around you, Ethan, I said. The end of the world. Is this really the reward you want? Do you want everything to be destroyed? The good, the bad, everything? There is no throne to Nemesis, Ethan muttered. No throne to my mother. He's like, that's right. Strike him down. They deserve to suffer. You said your mom is the goddess of balance. The minor gods deserve better, Ethan, but total destruction isn't balance. Kronos doesn't build, he only destroys.
It's also like,
and then
I don't know why the minor gods would have a throne in the Olympians' court.
Well, that's the thing about it, is that the hierarchy of gods who view themselves as more important, and it is reflected in the way the system treats them.
And it's like, I definitely, once again, I'm not saying that like the minor gods don't deserve anything, but I don't know if it's a throne, because it's like, I don't think everybody deserves a seat at like the table.
Interesting. I disagree, right? But I understand where you're coming from.
Yeah, I think there are in fact more important things that do go, and it's like maybe I don't know, King of the Gods.
Jason does building a temple.
Well, yeah,
to
building
all
a temple
of
to all of them. But again, like we know that we still know that Jupiter has the biggest fuck off temple.
Yeah, but he already
right?
had that temple.
But he already
Everyone
had the
else gets a
temple. And so everybody else gets a temple, but it's not going to be the Jupiter big fuck off temple.
But that's the thing. In Camp Half-Blood, there was no temple. Right?
I know. There are cabins, and it's
and there's only 12 of them.
It's
because these 12
that's insane to me.
Are most important.
That's insane to me. The fact that the cabins, again, I don't agree with the whole cabin thing, but the thrones and the temples, I do think you have to prioritize certain temples for we do. I mean, the Romans they valued different gods more than others. So it's obviously they're going to pray towards Bellona far more than they're going to pray towards Giannis.
Totally. But the thing, I think that, well, I actually don't know about that. But the thing we have is the issue of, in this book, in this world, it's not just praying to the gods for things. The gods in this world have
it's the respect of the minor gods.
Because the children exist. They have the respect that is given to the gods reflects immediately on the children and how they are treated and how the world perceives them. And that is the true nature of the problem. It is how these real world, they're demigods, but these mortal kids, how this structure has treated them. And it just treated them poorly because of the way the system is built.
And again, I get it.
Ends up attacking, but he doesn't attack Percy. He charges to Kronos. Kronos literally backhands him. Well, not even. He stomps his foot. The floor ruptured around Nico Nakamura. The sun of Nemesis fell through the fissure and went straight through the heart of the mountain, straight into open air. Gone. And that's curtains on Nico.
On Ethan Nakamura.
Ethan Nakamura.
Dude, that's such a brutal death too. That's got to be one of the more brutal ones in this book.
It's like, whoa, that's not a
Charles
good...
Beckendorf died off screen. There was an explosion. We didn't see anything. That's rough, but he gave his life for it. Ethan Nakamura did nothing.
He didn't kill Percy.
He couldn't kill Percy.
No, he could have, because he knew his weakness, and he could have told Kronos his weakness. And
He
Kronos
could
would
have.
have
Maybe.
Ethan made a choice.
I'll agree with
threw
that.
in his lot,
but it's also
Percy at the end.
Kronos said attack Percy,
and he didn't.
And he didn't. But even if he did, Percy still would have beat him in combat.
Probably.
We've seen it before in Battle of Labyrinth.
But irrelevant. What he actually wanted was to see where Ethan would attack him, to learn his weakness. And once Kronos had it, Percy couldn't beat Kronos.
Yeah.
Kronos can literally control time. We don't play with that a lot here, but he can.
Yeah.
Sometimes things get slow, but if Ethan had sided with Kronos right at the end, if he had attacked Percy, if he had told Kronos, it would have ended.
Yeah.
I don't think he did nothing. I think he did shift the balance the way Nemesis does.
Yeah, probably.
It sucks that he goes out like that. That's a rough one. But how many people can say they died because they fell off Mount Olympus?
Yeah.
So, and then we have the final combat. Poseidon rolls up. That's when Typhon shows up at the Hudson River. Poseidon rolls up just in time to push them back. Tyson's there.
Tyson!
Yay!
You got a big old stick.
The gods are still pushing them back. And Kronos is attacking. He's like, they're on their way. You've lost. The gods are going to show up. But Kronos is still not. He's not.
Yeah.
He countered, disarmed me. My sword skittered across the ground, fell straight to the open fissure. Stop! Annabeth came from nowhere. She caught the dagger. Annabeth defends herself, and then she's like, Luke, I understand now, you have to trust me. Luke Castellan is dead. His body will burn away as I assume my true form. I think your mother, she saw your fate. Service to Kronos, this is my fate. No, that's not the end, Luke, the prophecy. She saw what you would do. It applies to you. I will crush you, child. You won't. You promised. You're holding Kronos back even now. Lies. With his free hand, Kronos struck her face, and she slid backwards. Kronos loomed over her, his sword ways. Blood trickled from the corner of her mouth. She croaked. Family, Luke. You promised. He stared at the knife in Annabeth's hand, blood on her face. Promise. He gasped like he couldn't get an air. Annabeth. But it wasn't the Titan's voice. It was Luke. He stumbled like he couldn't control his body. You're bleeding. My knife. Annabeth tried to raise her dagger, but it clattered out of her hand. Her arm was bent at a funny angle. She looked at me. Percy, please. I could move again. I surged forward and scooped up her knife. I knocked Backbiter out of Luke's hand and spun it into the hearth. Luke hardly paid me any attention. He stepped towards Annabeth, but I put himself between him and her. Don't touch her. Anger rippled across his face. Kronos' voice growled. Then he gasped again. Luke's voice. He's changing. Help. He's almost ready. He won't need my body anymore. Please. He's like, the knife, Percy, Annabeth muttered. Hero, curse blade. There's this great bit where Kronos tries to pull his scythe out of the fire.
And it burns the shit out of his hand.
Because Hestia's in the flames, making it too hot for him to hold. Mm-hmm. This is why we give offerings to goddesses.
100%.
Listeners, this is why we always give offerings to goddesses. Percy, please. You can't do it yourself. He'll break my control. He'll defend himself. Only my hand. I know where. I can keep him controlled. You're not the hero, Rachel had said. It'll affect what you do. Please, Luke groaned. No time. So then Percy gives Luke Annabeth's dagger. He unlatched the side straps of his armor, exposing a small bit of skin just under his left arm, a place that'd be very hard to hit. With difficulty, he stabbed himself.
So how is the knife a cursed blade?
Well, okay. So in the Diary of Luke Castellan, which is a short story we've definitely read and released, DJ, you remember?
No, I don't.
You may recall that Luke is the one that gave Annabeth her dagger.
I know that much.
And when he gave her the dagger, he promised, we're a family now. I'm going to protect us the way our parents didn't protect us.
Okay.
So he made a promise to Annabeth. And in breaking the promise, the dagger essentially becomes a cursed blade. He promised to protect her and he failed. Not just he failed, he broke that promise.
Okay.
He hurt her. And so that's what makes this the cursed blade.
All right.
Yeah, that's a much better spot. DJ, you're absolutely right. Underneath the armpit. Yeah,
it's,
right
it's
there.
a crazy
It's covered by
spot.
armor.
Like, come on. It's covered by armor and it's covered by
even
your
gonna
arm.
Accidentally stab it.
It's covered by your arm. Hey, guess what? It's invulnerable. The only spot that's not vulnerable is, in fact, the armpit. Hey, crazy.
Yeah, no, Percy was... yeah, Luke was on it. And then, do we want to talk about the stuff Luke says as he dies?
He asked Annabeth...
well, okay, first he's like, you knew. I almost killed you, but you knew. And she says, you're a hero at the end, Luke. You'll go to Elysium. Think rebirth. Try for 3 times. I'll do this. I do respect Luke. He goes big or he goes home.
I understand that, but here's the thing. Does he go to Elysium?
Listen, the thing is like... I think
he gets Fields.
Here's what I think.
I think if he truly went through it and died by Percy hands, Tartarus. Easy. Tartarus, easy.
Easy.
I think because he did it, he made the choice. Fields.
Here's what I think. Yeah, Luke sided with Kronos. He was going to destroy all Western civilization. What would have happened to the East? This attaching it to Western civilization really anchors on, but like the rest of the world would have been fine.
All
Just
right.
weird
Well,
stuff
I also like.
we can't get into it now.
Also like, 100% the Titans coming down south and spreading out. The moment they hit Boston, Asgard just pops out. Hey, we aren't fucking with this, dude. We're done. We're done here. We're not doing this shit, dude. We're drawing the fucking line.
The doors of Valhalla spring open and.
Boom! All the Asgardian or the Enheriar come out. It's like, we're not doing this shit, bro. Like, back off. Go back up your stupid ass building, bro. We got an infinite hotel. You got a dumbass building that's on the 600th floor. Get out of here.
So I think, yes, all this bad stuff would have happened, but because Luke stops Kronos at the end, he chooses to stop Kronos at the end.
It's a big enough act to counteract all of his other
Luke
stuff.
Now gets credit for all of the good things that will come because Kronos was defeated.
That's insane. I don't know.
So here's what I think. You've not seen The Good Place, the TV show.
I haven't watched the final season.
Okay, so you know enough to know.
Actually,
perfect.
Season 3.
Okay, The Middle Place.
Yeah.
So I don't think he goes to the field. Like, that's why it works. That's why this woman.
Like, I saw them all get their second chance, and where I stopped watching was when the guy started to intervene and like pointing each other to like, hey, go here and go do that. You know.
This is exactly because this is just from the season 1. It talks about how the woman. Because she was terrible, but at the end of her life, she was going to do good things, but then she died before it happened, but her sister fulfilled it. Middle place. I don't think Fields of Asphodel, because that's too minor.
Fields of Asphodel is the middle place.
Yeah, but no.
Elysium is the top dog.
I think, yes, Elysium or Tartarus. But I think, because of all the other things, he gets so much credit, I think Rebirth, board is wiped clean, though. This doesn't count towards his 3 rebirths to get into the Isle of the West.
You gotta do one more.
We're gonna reset the board.
Reset it. You're born again. You gotta try again. But you gotta try again. This is your first.
This is your first chance. I absolutely believe he gets reborn.
I guess.
I also want the plot of the character who's reborn and finds out that they are Luke Castellan. Also,
that'd be fucking nuts. Sorry, I don't know about that one.
Here's an absolute cracked headcanon I don't subscribe to, but I think I'm gonna say it because I think you'd love it. Is it Estelle?
No.
But what if?
No.
But what if?
Dude, if it's Estelle, I'd be mad. I'd actually be
I
unironically
don't
mad,
think
and
it
I
is.
wouch fucking read that
I know,
book.
that's why I know you'd be upset. That's why I wanted to watch
crazy?
the reaction.
Oh, wow, insane. And I would never read another work from Rick Riordan.
That's why I've never brought it up, except right now when we've been on mic. I needed to record your
Straight
response.
up, would never read another book from him.
Mm-hmm.
He could release another Magnus Chase. He could release more in Apollo, right? I wouldn't care. Like, oh, you made Estelle Luke Castellan? That's insane.
Yeah. So I respect Luke being like, no, rebirth 3 times, Isle of the Blessed.
4 times,
like,
bud.
I absolutely respect Go Big or Go Home. I do.
I have such a hard
I see
time.
a character that I would have loved so much.
Yeah, I have a very hard time picturing the Isle of the Blessed because we've never seen it in anything.
Yeah.
I've never even heard of it in anything aside from this.
Yeah, it is.
Like that seems like a Rick thing.
It is a mythology thing. It's just not often discussed. Because really dying isn't the end game. The true for like Greek storytelling of that era. It was getting to be made immortal was the true big thing.
Yeah. I have such a hard time picturing Isle of the Blessed because like what does it mean? What is it? Asphodel, sure, it's not torture, right? Asphodel is just I'm now like we've seen it in the books. It's now I'm just in a nice big plane and like I've seen it depicted in like I've seen Elysium depicted all over the place, right? It's this fun lush area because it was made by Persephone. It's a paradise for heroes. What is the Isle of the Blessed?
I picture a villa.
That's
like
how
a beautiful
but that's how I picture Elysium.
Oh, interesting.
I've seen Elysium again like as a villa,
this
a
is
beautiful
it's my perfection. It's like a villa.
Yeah, and
It's a
that's
nice
fair.
villa.
Like I just
I don't think it's meant to be comprehended like that because it is ultimate paradise. Did we talk about this last Luke thing?
Yeah, I mean we
I
gotta.
got it. Okay. He held up his charred hand, and Annabeth touched his fingers. Did you? Luke coughed. His lips glistened red. Did you love me? Annabeth wiped her tears away. There was a time I thought. She looked at me like she was drinking the fact that I was still there. And I realized I was doing the same. The world was collapsing, and the only thing that really mattered to me was that she was alive. You were like a brother to me, Luke, she said softly. But I didn't love you. Because DJ, I don't love you. Obviously, my actual brother, my true brother. I don't love you. Though, is the thing.
Platonic, please. Let's stick there.
It's platonically, yeah. It's familial, but there was no.
Yeah.
What the fuck is this?
It's very strange.
I hate it.
It's absolutely Rick forgetting that Luke is in fact 24.
Did he forget that Luke was 19 at the beginning of the series? Doesn't make it less creepy, but like him being 24 and her being 16 makes it super unpleasant.
Yeah, it's a little weird.
What is this? Like, why?
I don't.
Why did we do this?
Get it.
It's because Annabeth had a crush on him at the beginning.
Yeah, but it's like it's understandable. Like little girls do tend to have crushes on like adults.
We talked about that.
Yeah,
and that's fine.
That's fine.
It's like.
But Luke reciprocating it towards the end?
Not good. What the fuck?
Strange. Definitely, you should have had him just been like 14, 15 at the start of the book, at the start of the series, and then have him be 19 at the end.
Yeah. Not wonderful, but still like, okay.
Still much better than 16 and 24. That is an 8-year gap at an early period of life. Like 8-year gap at like 40, 48, who gives a shit?
Yeah.
8-year gap at 16, 24?
Ooh, no.
Hey, time out.
It's just weird because it's like they just talked about family. Family, Luke, you promised. That was the promise. I'm going to protect you.
Yeah.
Why is we bringing this weird? Did you? And she could have said, yeah, you were my brother. You were my family. I always loved you. And he can be like, I'm sorry, I didn't love you enough.
Something like that.
Something like that. Like this weird making it like
romantic.
Like, why did we do this?
Very bad.
Why are this man is dying? Also, the fact that she just didn't. That she like, no, I didn't. Fuck you.
Yeah, bad. Very bad.
And the fact that it's so weird that it's mixed in with this amazing Percy Annabeth moment where he's talking about how the only thing that matters is that they're both still alive and they're together. Like, it's like weird that she's like, I'm finally choosing Percy over Luke.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'd like to revoke what I said earlier about this being the greatest love story ever told. Actually, it is Malik. It is Magnus Bane and Alec Nightwood. I revoked what I said earlier. I was just in the writing of it all. Clearly,
once you get to think about the fact that the whole it's the greatest love story ever told. If we only look at Percy, and then from this point on, Annabeth and Percy. But if we look at Annabeth,
this amazing paragraph is tied into whatever weirdness this is. So, I do love that at the end they do treat here Luke gets a hero's burial.
Yeah.
We need a shroud.
It is
a shroud
nice.
for
Once
the son
again,
of
I
Hermes.
understand.
And that he is referred to as the son of Hermes. And it is, though Luke, and maybe Luke wouldn't have liked that because he had so many like, oh, I don't want to be called the son of Hermes because of his own thing. Percy calling him that is a demonstration of respect to Luke.
Yeah.
And acknowledging him as this place in this Olympian family, that he still belongs
Yeah.
there. I think Selena gets that too. No one ever mentions that she was a traitor.
Well, I guess Ethan Nakamura even gets it.
Even, these demigods, they are all treated as they are received heroes, the burial rites and the heroes, and that matters. We see the Fates again.
The Fates show up and snip another cord that was, in fact, the end of Luke's life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then so he's like, they looked at me, and my life flashed before my eyes. I'm 20. I'm middle-aged. I'm old and withered. All my strength. And it's less than a second. It is done. The Fates held up a snippet of blue yarn. It was the one I'd seen 4 years ago, a lifeline. I'd watched them snip. A lifeline I'd watched them snip. I thought it was my life. Now I realized it was Luke's. They'd been showing me the life that would have to be sacrificed to set things right.
Yep.
The Fates themselves make the shroud
Fates
for Luke.
Are wilding.
Mm-hmm. And then we get, the chapter is called, We Win Fabulous Prizes.
And everybody gets a fun prize.
Mm-hmm. Grover is named
Lord of the Wild.
Lord of the Wild. Annabeth is hired to
redesign Olympus.
Yep. And then Percy.
Well, Tyson gets a big stick.
Tyson
he gets a
gets
nice,
a
fancy, the best stick of all.
Yep.
I feel like there was another. Did Thalia get anything?
No, because Thalia was trapped under a statue this whole time. She gets to go home and just be with the Hunters of Artemis again.
Yeah. Artemis rewarded her later.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Sure.
They went out for boba. No, I'm sorry, it's 2009. They went out for milkshakes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm trying to find... What does Talia? He called Talia first. You've done well, my lieutenant. You made us proud. All the hunters who have perished in my service will never be forgotten. They will achieve Elysium, I'm sure. She glared pointedly at Hades. Probably. She'll glare at him some more. Okay, I'll streamline their application progress.
Which means that like the judges do judge, like it's an application. It's not a guarantee once you die.
Yeah. Oh, it is the judges. Talia does get a prize. They just don't actually say, like no one says it in dialogue. It's said here. He called Talia first since she was his daughter and promised her help in filling the hunters' ranks. So that's what she gets. They will get help in finding more to join the hunters because so many of the hunters died.
Mm-hmm.
And then the hunters who passed will get to go to Elysium. And then, we already did Percy, Grover, Tyson, Annabeth. The council agrees. Percy Jackson, you will have one gift from the gods. He said, any gift? Zeus nodded grimly. I know what you will ask. The greatest gift of all. Yes, if you want it, it shall be yours. Gods have not bestowed this gift on a mortal hero in many centuries, but Perseus Jackson, if you wish it, you shall be made a god, immortal, undying. You shall serve as your father's lieutenant for all time. Which is interesting, because they don't actually say, your gift is, we will make you a god. They say, you will get any gift from the gods. And Zeus just assumes
that it's that, because he believes that that's the best thing possible.
Yeah. And a god, a demigod apparently. But yes, with the consensus of the entire council, I can make you immortal. And then I will have to put up with you forever.
And everybody agrees that that's a good plan.
Yep, everyone's
except for Percy.
Yeah. I thought about the way the fates and the way I'd seen my life flash before my eyes. I could avoid all that. No aging, no death, no body in the grave. I'd be a teenager forever, top condition, powerful, immortal, serving my father. I could have power and eternal life. Who could refuse that? Then I looked at Annabeth again, and I thought about my friends from camp, Charles Beckendorf, Michael Yu, Selena Beauregard, and so many others who are now dead. I thought about Ethan Nakamura and Luke, and I knew what to do. No. And they are pissed!
Zeus wasn't happy.
Insult. No,
Zeus was not happy.
You're turning down our generous gift? I'm honored and everything, don't get me wrong. It's just, I got a lot to live. I'd hate to peak my sophomore year.
Yeah.
I do want a gift, though. Do you promise to grant my wish? If it is within our power. It is, and it's not difficult, but I need you to promise on the River of Styx. What? Dionysus cried. Don't you trust us? Someone once told me, I said, looking at Hades, you should always get a solemn oath. Because that's what he says to, like, Nico. Nico's like, you promised it.
Should have made me swear upon the River of Styx.
Okay. And so he says, we will grant any reasonable request. From now on, I want you to properly recognize the children of the gods. All of the children of all of the gods. The Olympians shifted uncomfortably. Cronos couldn't have risen if it hadn't been for a lot of demigods who felt abandoned by their parents. They felt angry, resentful, and unloved, and they had a good reason. Zeus's royal nostrils flared. You dare accuse? No more undetermined children, I said. I want you to promise to claim your children, all of your demigod children, by the time they turn 13. They won't be left out in the world on their own at the mercy of monsters. I want them claimed and brought to camp so they can be trained right and survive. And the minor gods, I said, Nemesis, Hecate, Morpheus, Janus, Hebe. Even Janus is named up here.
All right.
They all deserve. Hebe, who is the daughter of Hera. And
yeah, that's right. Yeah.
She's one of Hera's daughters, and I believe she is married to Hercules. I don't remember that one I'm not sure of, but Hebe is a daughter of Hera.
Maybe.
We could have really, I feel like we could have way done more with the fact that Hebe sides with that's interesting. There's our Hera.
Yeah, that could have been
plots.
super cool.
All deserve general amnesty and a place at Camp Half-Blood. Their children shouldn't be ignored. Calypso and the other peaceful Titan kind should be pardoned too. And Hades, are you calling me a minor god? No, my lord. But your children should not be left out. They should have a cabin at camp. Nico has proved that. No unclaimed demigods will be crammed in a Hermes cabin anymore, wondering who their parents are. They'll have their own cabins for all the gods. And no more Pact of the Big Three. That didn't work anyway. You've got to stop trying to get rid of powerful demigods. We've got to retrain them and accept them instead. All children of the gods will be welcome and treated with respect. That is my wish. Zeus, is that all?
Hey, I give you guys permission to cheat on your wives. Hey, also, they broke their promise.
Yeah, it didn't matter, except for Hades.
Well, I'm not even talking. I'm talking about.
Oh God, we can't get into that right now.
Calypso.
We can't get into that right now, DJ.
I'm just saying they broke.
We've been recording for DJ. It's almost 2 hours.
No. I'm not going to continue. I'm just saying. Where's the repercussions for that?
I know.
The River Styx was very adamant on making Apollo's life quite hellish. Throughout the entirety of I know.
We were on that episode of Seaweed Brain.
I know. But I'm just saying. Where's the repercussions at all?
So, all in favor, Hermes said, all the gods raise their hand. And so they leave with the honor guard. All hail Perseus Jackson, Tyson said, hero of Olympus and my big brother.
Woo!
Anyway, meanwhile, Rachel has stolen Blackjack and hightailed it to Camp Half-Blood.
Yep.
Because she's going to be the new Oracle.
Yep, she gets the Oracle to come out of her attic.
Mm-hmm. She goes. I love that scene too. They show up there just in time. She's standing there. Everyone's kind of freaked out, and the Oracle literally shambles out. And Rachel, oh God, can I just read what she says? Ahead. The mist swirled around Rachel. It's like she was going into shock. This is where I belong, Percy. I finally understand. The house rumbled, the door flew open, and green light poured out. I recognized the warm, musty smell of snakes. Mist curled into 100 smoky serpents, slithering on the porch columns, curling around the house. Then the Oracle appeared in the doorway. You've waited too long, Rachel said, but I'm here now. And then all of a sudden Apollo is there, a blonde dude in a white toga with sunglasses and a cocky smile.
What's good? Rachel... Apollo's the god of the Oracle. Gotta be here to...
DJ, would you like to read what Apollo says here? I have done so much reading this time.
Let's see. Apollo, I said. He winked at me, but held up his finger to his lips. Rachel Elizabeth Dare, he said. You have the gift of prophecy, but it is also a curse. Are you sure you want this? Rachel nodded. It is my destiny. Do you accept the risks? I do. Then proceed, the god said. Rachel closed her eyes. I accept this role. I pledge myself to Apollo, god of oracles. I open my eyes to the future and embrace the past. I accept the spirit of Delphi, voice of the gods, speaker of riddles, seer of fate.
And then Rachel's our new Oracle.
Woo!
And they're all worried that it won't work for a second because, oh no, what happened to May?
The curse.
But it works
because... But the curse is lifted because Percy requires his kids to be accepted.
Yep, and Hades doesn't drag his feet on this.
Once again, Hades is a businessman. He understands numbers. He understands promises.
Apollo drifted down from the porch. Ladies and gentlemen, may I introduce to you the new Oracle of Delphi.
Oh, yeah.
And it's like, I saw it when I was in New York. I know why I was born with the true sight. I was meant to be the Oracle. And then Rachel doubled over like someone punched in her gut. She stood up straight and her eyes glowed serpent green. When she spoke, her voice tripled, like 3 Rachels talking all at once. 7 half-bloods shall answer the call. To storm or fire, the world must fall. An oath to keep with the final breath, and foes bear arms to the doors of death. Like, hey, it's the next great prophecy. It might take 50 years. Don't worry about it.
Who's to say? Like, it took 100 and some odd years for this one to come through, so we'll see. I don't know.
And Rachel proceeds to break up with Percy.
Yeah.
Like, well,
even though they weren't dating.
Yeah. He was like, I think she broke up with me. We're never actually dating. She's like, you were never my destiny. You were just my manic pixie dream boy to bring me into this world.
Granted, she was also his manic pixie dream girl.
Kinda, yeah. This artist. Annabeth and Tyson bake Percy a blue cupcake because it is his birthday. And it literally happened
A brick with blue cement.
They realizes, basically probably the moment he handed Luke the dagger is probably right when it clicked over and he turned 16. But they kiss. And
They kiss. And then they get tossed in the lake.
They get tossed in the lake.
Kiss at the bottom of the lake.
Yep. Afterwards, I had the last laugh. I made an air bubble at the bottom of the lake. Our friends kept waiting for us to come up. But hey, when you're the son of Poseidon, you don't have to hurry. And it was pretty much the best underwater kiss of all time.
That's the one that I'm very excited to see on screen. That's going to be very visually stunning.
We say goodbye. Sort of. Grover has to go do off things. They're building cabins for Iris, Nemesis, Hecate, and several gods I didn't even recognize. They kept adding new ones to the blueprints every day. So they get beads every year. I know our listeners know that. You and I know that. That's never something we've actually mentioned on the podcast. I just wanted to say it right now.
Yeah.
At the end of every summer, there's a bead designed by what things look like. This year's bead had the Empire State Building on it.
Yeah,
the Hephaestus cabin designed it. As they should have.
It's very ornate.
Yep.
Very intricate.
They're talking about the future. Have you been thinking about Rachel's prophecy? She's like, how did you know? Because I know you. Okay, so I have 7 half-bloods answer the call. I wonder who they'll be. We're going to have so many new faces next summer. Yep, I agreed. And all that stuff about the world falling in storm or fire. And froze at the doors of death. I don't know, Percy. I don't like it. I thought, we get some peace for a change. Wouldn't we Camp Haplet? It was peaceful. I guess you're right. Maybe the prophecy won't happen for years. Could be the problem for another generation of half-blood demigods.
I give it 6 months.
Then we can kick back and enjoy. She nodded, but she still seemed uneasy. I didn't blame her, but it was hard to feel too upset on a nice day with her next to me, knowing that I wasn't really saying goodbye. We had loads of time. Race to the road, I said. You were so gonna lose. She took off down Half-Blood Hill, and I sprinted after her. For once, I didn't look back.
Isn't it like pretty shortly after this?
Yeah.
Harry snags Percy and then hides him for fucking a year?
Yeah. I think they get the summer. Like, he misses almost all of his sophomore year.
Junior.
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's The Lost Hero takes place 6 months after, and then Son of Neptune takes place 6 months after.
Yeah.
And I know he complains, like, I missed most of my junior year or some shit like that.
Percy, I think you missed all of your junior year.
You missed a whole ass year.
Percy, at this point, just get your GED. Don't even worry about it. Why did we bother sending him back to school?
I don't understand.
So, okay.
You could have had Paul tutor you and Annabeth tutor you to get your just GEDs, so you don't even have to worry about it anymore.
I think that would have been what's best for Percy. Honestly, I think he would have thrived.
Yeah.
DJ, we did it.
We did it.
Well,
this is the first episode.
We didn't do it.
First episode of the new season, guys. Thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, this was a long one. I hope you enjoyed that. I mean, it's the book one. They're always a little longer.
Yeah.
Hey. Yeah.
I know I enjoy a little more long form content.
I do too. I like not having to think like what's going to play next. I have to.
Exactly.
Why these episodes are as long as they need to be, because I think you and I are making content that we like best, and I think our listeners like it too. You've been here for 5 seasons, so unless you're starting on this episode, in which case, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We hope you enjoyed our take on The Last Olympian.
I think this is a good episode to start on. Please go check out our other stuff. Maybe not the first season. That's a little
first season,
little hit or miss.
It's we've grown so much. Third season, you definitely started in the 3rd season.
Titan's great. 4th season is when we become Muses.
Oh yeah, that happened so recently.
Yeah, that happened last year. We became the Muses last year.
Oh wow!
Right,
just a year. It feels longer.
It feels longer but it's because it was halfway through the 3rd season when I came up with the name.
No, yeah, that is true. That is true. So yeah, this has been the episode. We'll start off with going through the myths, going through all the stories as we do. So we will be back in your ears on Tuesday, July 25th. Because we are weekly, folks.
We are weekly. Look out for pictures. You're probably going to see my hair get progressively more gray.
Oh my gosh.
I keep finding grays. Thank you guys so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. We'll be in your ears next week. And until then, don't be like Zeus.
Don't be like Zeus.
Muses of Mythology is created and hosted by Darien and DJ Smartt. It's edited by Darien Smartt. The show is produced by Darien and DJ Smartt, as well as
Tim O'Connor, the Crystal Con Man. Our music is Athens Festival by Martin Hain, and our cover art is by Audrey Miller. You can find her on Instagram at bombshellnutshellart.
Want more Muses of Mythology? Support the show on Patreon. Just $1 gets you exclusive bonus content. Get more at patreon.com/Muses of Mythology.
You can also support the show by leaving a review at lovethepodcast.com/Muses of Mythology, or tell a friend why you love the show.
Don't forget to check out all of our episodes and episode transcripts at musesofmythology.com.
Thanks for listening.